Hey MotoAmerica fans, this is Max Flinders. Make sure you go to MotoAmerica YouTube channel and subscribe, comment, like. If you see me, definitely put a thumbs up.
Anticipation at an all-time high for the MotoAmerica AMA FIM North American Road Race Championship. Our 6th round of 9 for 2021. It's motorcycle superbikes at Minnesota from Brainerd International Raceway. Hey everyone, welcome to SportbikeTrackGear.com, our first race of the weekend, and welcome to the broadcast booth. I'm Greg White, standing alongside two-time champ Jason Pridmore, and in this class, Tyler Scott and Ben Gloddy have been the standouts. But Jason, we're looking at another rider who's been really on a tear as of late.
Yeah, David Kolstad's been consistently on the podium lately, and I had the pleasure of talking to his father over this last 2 or 3 week period, and he's working on some things on his riding to try to get himself into that front 2 group.
And for David Kolstad, he's been on the podium for the last 3 races and putting on some great performances and definitely looking to make another step, as we've had winner, 2nd place, and 3rd the same in the last 3 races. But Jay, what is it that impresses you about Kolstad's riding right now?
Well, I think, we saw him on the podium earlier in the year, and now it's just a matter of trying to get there more consistently, and we've seen him get that 3rd place a lot. But he wants to win, as all these young guys do. They want to get out there and win these races. Ben Gloddy and Ty Scott have been kind of the guys that they've been chasing all year long, and that's his goal right now, to continue to close that gap.
And SportbikeTrackGear.com Junior Cup is so competitive. When riders get locked into a battle, anything can happen in terms of the shuffle. But here are the first 3 rounds of this championship for David Kolstad. You can see he scored 59 points. In the last couple rounds, 64. It's impressive for David Kolstad. So talking about him, we thought we'd send Hannah down to have a conversation with the young David Kolstad.
David, we've seen you on our podium several times so far this season, but what's it going to take for you to make that next step and get that elusive first win?
It's definitely been a good learning curve. There's so much to it. It's not just about the bike or anything, these small bikes. It's really just how fast can you go through the corners. And I'm definitely pushing hard trying to get that first win, but there's still so much more to learn, and I'm learning it. So I'm hoping it's coming up soon. I can't wait to be on the top of the box. I'm pushing hard, and I'm trying hard. I'm working hard at home. I'm studying. I'm doing as much as I can. So I feel like it's coming up soon.
New track for you this weekend. What are your expectations?
It's actually a really fun track, wide open, and I've surprisingly really up there with the times really quick because of the fast guys. So I think we're going to have something.
Best of luck.
For David Kolstad, he's chasing down this guy, your championship points leader, 15-year-old Tyler Scott, and he has been ripping this weekend.
That number 70 KTM, the Tyler Scott entry, he has been very impressive, and we saw in qualifying this morning. I'm Robbie Floyd with Roger Hayden, by the way, in case it doesn't sound like Greg White and Jason Pridmore. If you were with us this morning, we saw Ty Scott running purple sectors 2, 3, and 4. That's all the shorter, tighter stuff, but he did not have the fastest time in sector 1. Why do you think that was?
Well, maybe somebody just had a draft, and we've seen how much a draft can work here at this track, how much speed you can gather from the draft. So maybe he was just out there by himself. Maybe he didn't get a draft, and the rest of the track, you don't really need a draft if you get the speed. You just need clean track.
Also, I want to remind everybody that the MRO chapel services are tomorrow morning at 7, 8, 9, and 10 a.m. and at the Fighting the Finish Community Center. That's behind the MotoAmerica Hospitality. So again, 7, 8, 9, and 10, Fighting the Finish Community Center for the MRO chapel services. But red flags waving and kind of got a pit lane closed right now. I think this is going to be an interesting race with the juniors, because one thing that you definitely need if you're in a pack, you don't need to be in front coming down that straightaway, because there is a big drafting possibility with the juniors.
There's a huge drafting possibility with the juniors here, and also with it being windy. That's even going to add more to the draft. So I think a guy like Tyler Scott, who's been quickest pretty much all weekend, he'll probably try to get a good start, try to break away. And if he can't get a good start and break away, maybe just hang out in the pack, and then toward the last couple laps, make his way back toward the front.
I felt bad for Ben Gloddy yesterday, because I talked about he was always a front guy in that pack. Every time he would drop back, nobody would want to take the lead. That's just something you have to deal with in pack racing. Tyler Scott's going to start on pole with Ben Gloddy and Max Todd. We'll be back in just a bit. Send it back over to Greg and Jason next door.
Back to Brainerd International Raceway and our return. 17-year absence for the SportbikeTrackGear.com Junior Cup race number 1, our 6th round of the season. And Jason, looking at Gus Rodeo, it's been an interesting year for Gus because he puts himself 4th in this championship. And Gus Rodeo, he only has 1 podium so far this season, and it's a win. It was a win at MotoAmerica. You can see how tight it was here. And I think for Gus, we saw him last year unfortunately get hurt. He's still recovering from that injury. And, you know, for him to get back on the podium, he's just got to continue to work hard. And Hannah had a chance to catch up with the 96.
Greg, we've seen Gus Rodeo have a breakout season and even capture his very first victory of his career this year. Gus, what's it going to take for you to finish the second half of the season strong?
I think I just need to keep pushing the limit and keep learning. I think the pace is getting really fast, so the faster it gets, I just need to be up there every race. And to be honest, I think we're back to pack racing this weekend, so just be smart, and that's pretty much it.
It's a new track for you and for most of the kids in your class. What are your expectations?
Yeah, well, I've been in this championship this is my 3rd year. The last 2 seasons, we didn't do West Coast first season. Second season, I had an injury at the Ridge. And yeah, that wasn't even a year ago that I broke my left femur. So we're still getting stronger and we're still pushing every race.
Best of luck this weekend, Gus. Greg?
All right, thanks, Hannah. And looking at Brainerd International Raceway, a new road course for MotoAmerica. Jason, take us around.
Well, it's a little bit of the old mixed in with the new, Greg. You can see turn 1 is going to be fast corner, and turn 2 is probably the quickest one we have on our calendar. Into heartbreaking turn 3, we're going to see a lot of movement as far as back and forth through the pack with these guys passing each other from turn 3 to turn 6. Then we get the new section, new to us anyways, little carousel turn through 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, under the tunnel for the last corner on the run to the finish line.
It's going to be exciting to see how racing pans out. And how about Benjamin Gloddy? 2nd in points, 9 podiums, 2 wins. He's looking for his 3rd of the season.
Mentions for the guys next door, Ben Gloddy, also Gus Rodeo, and talk about that solo podium for Gus Rodeo. But you look at his consistency. I think out of the 10 races, he's finished in the top 5 8 times. Gloddy, he's kind of that guy last year. Now this year, he's expected to win.
Yeah, this year Ben Gloddy is definitely expected to win and also be a championship guy, and he's kind of proved that. And like you said, Gus Rodeo has always been a guy. He's been consistent every single race, always in the podium battle every race, and I expect the same thing out of him today as well.
Ben Gloddy's looking for a little help out there as well. You know, the difference between 1st and 2nd place, 5 points. He's 12 behind Scott right now. So, again, if he can get 5 here, maybe put somebody in between. The difference between, you know, 1st and 3rd is 25 to 16 points. That 9 looks even better. But that KTM just seems to have something for everyone. And they're getting ready for their final lap around here with a few seconds remaining before we get to the race. The question is, can that orange bike, that orange brigade rider, can he pull away? You're on a SOT. We haven't seen him yet. We don't know if we've even tried to do it yet. Can he pull away and run a solo mission?
Well, but looking at his lap times in practice, it seems like he can get away. But if he doesn't get a good start or those guys try to rough him up early, it's going to be hard to get away with this draft. He's going to have to break it the very first lap. And, you know, it's hard to just say that it's the KTM. It just looks like he's really riding well this year and putting in the work, and the results are showing.
Absolutely. Almost taking the championship at the Flat Track Nationals in Du Quoin just a few weeks ago. This is a very talented Tyler Scott. Let's see if he can pay it off and take his 6th win of the year in the STG Juniors.
Today's STG Junior Cup coverage is sponsored by Geico Motorcycle. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on your car or motorcycle insurance. By SportbikeTrackGear.com, the motorcycle apparel and parts specialists. And by Dunlop, the official tire of the MotoAmerica Championship Series.
Plenty of fans showed up for this one. Jason Pridmore, here's a look at the starting grid. Tyler Scott, a 142.458, led the way.
Yep, then Ben Gloddy, Maxwell Toth on that row 1. Kolstad, Cody Wyman, and Gus Rodeo on row number 2, a little further back. Jack Roach having a good weekend. Max Van and Owen Williams on row number 3. Aiden Tao, Kayla Yakov, and Blake Davis are going to round out row number 4. Then we have Chase Black, Bickneys, and Force. Pedersen, Vandal, and actually Drew and Jake Vandal are back there on row number 6. And then Alex Reese is there on row 7.
The grid is forming up for the start of the SportbikeTrackGear.com Junior Cup race number 1. They've had their sighting lap followed by the warm-up lap. And now it's time to get this 11-lap race going. Here we go. The start of race number 1 in the SportbikeTrackGear.com Junior Cup class. Your pole sitter, Tyler Scott, looking for a good launch. And wow, he timed that one.
Wow, he certainly did. And that's what these guys don't want to see. And you're going to see they're 4 wide, 3 wide behind him. And see that gap that's already starting to appear. They've got to get in line. They've got to start working together, believe it or not, this early. Because if he gets off and gets through this infield section on his own, and these guys mess about, he'll pull a gap.
So 15-year-old Tyler Scott trying to have his way. He was really fast in the Dunlop tire test here on Thursday. Didn't quite post those kind of times so far this weekend. A lot of people looking at the number 70 going, does he have anything in reserve during the race? We're getting ready to find out now as Ben Gloddy, the 72, their second in points, trying to hold on to Ty Scott.
And that's the guy that you would expect to try to bridge that gap, and he's doing it right now with Max Toth. Looking to see there. Looks like Cody Wyman has slotted himself in 4th. Yesterday he ran off the track in turn 1 and lost. When he jumped back onto the track, Greg, his chain came off, so he lost a little bit of track time yesterday afternoon. So good to see Cody rebounding, getting himself up in that top 5. These two at the front cleared off up at Laguna Seca, like 22 seconds. And I don't think that we'll see something like that again. But looks like Max Toth's trying to go along with Gloddy, as is Wyman.
Good to see Toth back in action. 58, Cody Wyman, and then behind him, David Kolstad out of Washington, who's been on a podium run himself. And then Jack Roach on the Westby Racing Yamaha R3 doing a great job.
Yeah, Jack has definitely shown some pace this weekend as well. Got a lot closer to that lead group's lap times, but you can see this is stretching out already. Has a 0.6 of a second lead over Gloddy, Toth, Wyman, Kolstad. Roach, Rodeo Williams, and Max Van are going to be your top 9 with Yakov there. Kayla doing a nice job moving herself up into the top 10 early in this race.
A 46.2 from a dead stop goes Tyler Scott for the first lap. Qualified at a 42.4. Wow, Jason. I mean, less than 4 seconds off from a dead stop.
That's pretty good, isn't it?
That is getting after it. So Tyler Scott on the Scott Power Sports KTM, the RC 390R. Drew Vandal on a KTM RC 390. A little different from the R model. The R model has some upgrades to it.
See,
also in the field.
Wyman's got through, hasn't he?
Yeah, Wyman's got through. He looked like he had pace early on. But now it's a matter for the 34 of Wyman, who's on that Kermoto Madden Painting Ninja 400. Does he have the pace to close the gap? Because in the fast sections here at Brainerd International Raceway, especially on these smaller displacement motorcycles, the draft, even leaned over, can come into play.
Yep, no question. These guys will be able to draft from turn 1 all the way to turn 3. They're wide open all the way through. And you can see they're even wide open, it looks like, through this little 9, 10, 11 area before they have to break deep here for turn 12. But as soon as they come out of this next right-hander under the bridge, they're going to be wide open going through the gears, Greg. I went down there and watched turn 1 yesterday from the inside of the track, and they're literally upshifting all the way to the point where they're leaning into this corner and just wide open.
And you may remember Maxwell Toth and Wyman getting together. Hannah?
Yeah, there was a bit of a racing incident at the ridge between these two riders. Toth went down, and unfortunately Cody Wyman got collected up in it but managed to stay upright. Max was okay, but he suffered a broken finger or broken thumb from that race, so he ended up missing out at Laguna Seca. He had some pins in his hand, so he couldn't ride. He had them removed from his right hand about a week ago. A little bit sore in that hand, especially in a tuck when his wrist is really flexed, but for the most part, he feels like he was able to ride hard and take risks in qualifying and practice. But overall for this race, he plans to be smart, but also find the balance of being aggressive when he needs to manage the overall risk.
Yeah, that incident was a heart stopper without question.
Yeah, it was lucky it was only a finger, not a leg or anything like that. I know Cody felt bad about it. You could tell it shook him up at the second it happened. Here's a little bit further back. Got Max Van. So this battle you see here, that's
Gus Rodeo.
Going to be 3rd, 4th, and then this is 5, 6, 7, and 8 right here. And you got Gus Rodeo, you got David Kolstad, Jack Roach, and how about Owen Williams, 14 years old. Found a track here that really suits him. He's 3 or 4 races now into his debut season, and he's already running with some guys that have, well, Gus Rodeo's won a race this year. Cody Wyman's won a race this year, so they're just up the road from him, but he's kind of put himself in a good spot.
Yeah, that's the number 13 you see back there, Williams, on the Kalashine Racing Ninja 400. Getting a great education from podium finishers in Kolstad, race winner in Rodeo, race winners all up ahead of him as this class has been so competitive this year. We've got 6 different riders stand on the podium, Jason Pridmer, and of those 6, 5 have won races. It's been an incredible season in SportbikeTrackGear.com.
Ben Gloddy just comes across the line with the fastest lap time of the race as we go back to this battle for 4th place between Toth and Rodeo. And you can see Owen Williams has got himself through on Jack Roach. Jack doing such a good job on that R3, staying in touch with these other riders right now. Kolstad gets in a little bit deep, it looked like, huh, Greg?
Yeah, I had to check up a little bit.
Yeah.
So you can see further behind this battle is now Ben Gloddy, after setting that fastest lap of the race at a 142.703, has now latched onto the back of Tyler Scott, not wanting him to get away.
And we got some of the same that we had up in California 3 weeks ago, don't we? These two guys are really starting to show the pace. 43 flat, 42.7 for the first two. Then we have 43, like basically high 43s for Wyman, Toth, and Kolstad and Rodeo. So they're about a second plus quicker right now, Greg, than the guys behind them.
What's at stake? Championship points, of course. Tyler Scott leads Ben Gloddy by only 12 points. If Gloddy can figure out a way around Scott by the checkered flag, that's going to take 5 points back in Gloddy's favor. Boy, not even a bike length between them through that corner, Jason.
But Ben just wasn't able to do anything with him at Laguna Seca, and he was trying his best. So now he's got to try to learn another circuit of where his bike's going to be strongest, where he think he might be able to do something here to try to work his way through on Tyler Scott, show him a wheel, be able to get alongside him. This is all drafting as they come out of that last corner. You can see Tyler might have had something.
There's a move.
Hey, he might have had something in his eye or something. You saw he actually put his visor up, put his finger inside of his helmet. So every now and then you might get something that either flies around in there or a piece of debris or something. Put that lid back down, but in the meantime gets passed by Ben Gloddy.
Jason, as long as he can hold on to this lead, his strategy for this race might not have to come into play, but he said overall he wanted to use this draft to the best of his ability throughout the race. And at the end of the race, if he could lead into turn 3, he thinks he can pull off the win over Tyler Scott.
And Scott has a look behind him. Now, Jason, you're talking about him messing with the visor.
Yep.
That's not the first time I saw Tyler Scott do it. Yeah, he did it a little earlier in the race, so there's got to be something that's kind of bugging him in his eye, and it's got to be a concern for him because he's grabbed that awry visor a couple of times.
And you're right, because I saw him do it just now between 3 and 4, and sometimes if the visor is not closed all the way, it can get air and stuff up underneath there, and you can see, let's see what he's doing here. He's going to pop it open. Yeah, he's got something in his eye. That's all I can say, and it could be really annoying. Could be an eyelash, could just be something simple, but it's enough to just mess with your vision. The thing that's concerning is, you see how casually he looked over his shoulder when they came out of turn 3? He kind of looked back, went, okay, there's nobody behind me, and he'll try to just sort out the situation that he's got under his helmet there the best he can. But we'll see what this lap time looks like, too, with Gloddy leading this first lap in quite a while.
So back to third, Max Toth in his return to MotoAmerica competition. Holding off Cody Wyman. They've been going back and forth. So Toth, with about 5 laps to go in this one, looking to hold on for third spot. Wyman back to third. around Max Toth. Gus Rodeo still in 5th. Jay, how'd that happen?
Just a draft move there. Out of turn 1, he got a good run on Toth. And now Toth is going to try to go back up underneath him. So this is kind of why that gap gets opened up. But if these guys can halfway play nice, Cody Wyman has a look over his shoulder. He could see that this gap behind him is closing in on these two guys. The last time they went through, Greg, it was only, what was it, 3 seconds, is it? To these guys. I don't think that's right. I think it's 0.2 is what I'm looking at. It's close anyways between that battle for 4th and the group here battling for 5th.
Yeah, about 2.5 seconds. And a couple laps ago, I saw in the background when we were watching Ben Gloddy and Tyler Scott, I saw one of these two riders, the 58 or the 34, give that motion, the pat on the tail section, like, hey, let's stop messing about and try to go reel these two in, and definitely not let the big group behind us that's full of Gus Rodeo, David Kolstad, Owen Williams, and Jack Roach catch up to us.
Well, last time through, the leaders were 43.5 and 44 flat. These guys were in the 43s, high 43s, so they weren't that far off that lead pace.
Now it looks like Toth has started to pull the pin. Try to go reel him in. 43.5 for our race leader.
Kolstad's done a really nice job of drawing this other group with Rodeo and Williams and Roach back up to that battle for 3rd. So in a minute, if we're not careful here, and with 5 laps to go, we could see 6-rider battle for that final podium position.
Things kind of look spread out at the moment with those 5 laps to go, but I have a feeling it's going to tighten back up as they're starting to close down that gap. Cody's looked back. Cody Wyman has looked back a couple of times. If he sees them coming, maybe it's going to light a fire. Here we go, back as a pass for the lead happens. So it looks like maybe the fly in the eye has gone away for Ty Scott.
Yeah, but he just got passed right back, and in a gap too. Like Gloddy went back past, and look at the gap, Greg.
What, that was strange.
That was really strange, yeah. So Ty Scott goes up underneath him into 3, and as they come out, Gloddy was able to just go right back by and open up an immediate gap.
Wow, so back to the lead goes Ben Gloddy. Gloddy, 16 years old. And before WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca got his driver's license, as Jason, we've talked about it before, being in this sport for as long as we have, watching these young racers grow up right in front of our eyes is something special to watch. Not only them as racers, but human beings. Ben Gloddy trying to get back to the top of the box. 2 wins this season, looking for number 3. Here's the group, the battle for 3rd, starting to tighten up a little bit in terms of more people coming to the mix.
Yeah, there's some more people coming to that party, as for sure. As you can see, Rodeo now has got by Kolstad. So he's taken up the charge to try to get on the back of Wyman, who then will draw up to Toth. And this is where all that drafting and stuff will start to really come into play for these guys. And they just opened up the tiniest gap right now. It looks like over Owen Williams and Jack Roach. So they're still pushing hard, trying to get up there. And you can see Wyman here in the draft of Toth. He should get him maybe by turn 2. Let's see if looks like he's up alongside of him. He's going to get by him. Rodeo's loving that because he'll get the effect of a double draft through here.
So Gus Rodeo, the 96 on the Rodeo Racing motorcycle. 1 podium in 11 races. Trying to find another one. Of course, we talked about it in race number 6 on the year. Rodeo with a win. No other podiums to speak of. Trying to get that 3rd spot. Things are starting to tighten up. Up front, though, Jason, half a second lead now for Gloddy over Scott.
Yeah, we're going to look at the splits when they get ready to go through here. Is back to the front you go. I think Ty Scott is just kind of positioning himself right now. And I'm not exactly sure what happened just then, but yeah, it's still, it's closer than half a second now as they get down into this big, long carousel turn 8. Bump right in the middle of this turn. You can see right there as Ty Scott goes over that bump. And he runs a little bit tighter line all the way through there, Greg, especially where that turn tightens up. And Gloddy now coming into the turn 12 area. We'll be able to see what their lap times are and see what these guys are doing here.
Closing stages of this race. Benjamin Gloddy, the 72 on the Landers Racing Kawasaki Ninja 400. Battling it out with Tyler Scott, not only on the racetrack, but in the championship. with 3 to go. Who has got it? Jason, here's a replay of what happened. Some passing, and you can see the lid on the visor going up and down for Ty Scott.
Yep, and then here's the pass that we've seen a little bit over and over between these two guys, between Wyman and Toth. They've been going back and forth, and why they've been doing that. And here again, this is just a couple of laps ago now where there was a pass for the lead. And if you look on the right side of our screen, that same pass has just been made. Ty Scott goes up underneath Ben Gloddy in that turn 3 area. This time head down, trying to pull back away. Gloddy's looking to go up underneath him into turn 4. Not going to happen. Ty Scott, maybe this is what he had planned, Greg. Kind of see where things are. 2.5 laps to go. Maybe try to pull the pin. We've seen him, and we've seen Gloddy get into the 42s. Right now, that last lap by, 42.8 for Tyler Scott.
Yeah, his fastest lap of the race goes Scott in the closing stages of this one. Gloddy, as Hannah talked about, trying to utilize that draft. The thing is that Ty Scott has had a chance for a couple laps to go to school on Benjamin Gloddy and figure out where Gloddy is strong. And Scott, on that number 70 orange KTM, has got a plan. Gloddy trying everything he can to be as small as he can behind a very slender KTM and a slender rider in Tyler Scott. He's trying to pull the pin, is Scott. Doesn't look like it's going to work for him, at least at the moment.
43.0 to 43.4, so they're in those low 43s. Let's see if Gloddy can get a run on him at all. You can see a little different line out of there. He's running a little bit more exit and trying to run up along the outside of the KTM rider. Not quite close enough. Let's see if he can get close enough for turn 3 action down here. We saw this is where Ty Scott was able to get in the draft and get by Gloddy. Ty Scott does a nice job being defensive going into this corner.
Blocking that inside move. The long way around is the outside line for Gloddy. SportbikeTrackGear.com. Battle for the lead. Who is going to win this one, JP?
It's so hard because Gloddy is just waiting for Ty Scott to pop up out of that bubble going into 4, and he wants to wait that little bit extra longer, but he just can't quite commit himself to get up alongside that orange KTM because Ty Scott's extremely late on the brakes as well.
You can see when they are just in a row, when Gloddy's trying to get that draft, you can just see the extra size of his shoulders.
Yeah.
And just that little bit of extra meat of that motorcycle aerodynamically. Coming into the chicane to complete another lap. You should be seeing the white flag lap. Oh, and Scott's trying hard, and he is twisting the grip. JP, Gloddy trying to keep him in sight at this point. No room for an attack. All the while back there, Max Toth, Cody Wyman, David Kolstad, Gus Rodeo, Owen Williams, and Jack Roach still going at it for that final podium spot. So now, who's got the plan that's going to work with the white flag?
I mean, these guys have seen each other so many times going into a white flag lap, and you know, you want your plan to always play out, and Gloddy now looks like he's going up the inside. He is.
What a move for Ben Gloddy, who takes over the lead.
But he's got to come out of here and go over to the right-hand side of the track and not allow Ty Scott the opportunity to sneak back up underneath him. He's got to move over to the right. If he goes over to the left like that, he just opens the door, and that's what's going to make it hard now for him to go back past.
Especially because Scott was able to park him a little bit, but he's trying to go up the inside. Gloddy, no. So he left the door wide open, and Scott takes advantage of it. And now, where does Gloddy make the move?
All through here, it's really hard to pass when you're as close as these two guys are. But what I feel like, and he's going to have another shot at him as they go in, and he does it. So the door gets opened up for him, and he's able to shoot through it. Now let's see if he can get the run down to this little, there you go, move over to the left a little bit. That's what he's got to do now. He's got this carousel. Now he has a much better shot at this, Greg.
So Ben Gloddy trying to do everything he can to hold off Ty Scott. Is it going to be enough? Over the bump they go. They got to get on the brakes, downshift through the chicane. There's a passing opportunity. We haven't seen it so far here at Brainerd International Raceway, but there is one coming up here in turn number 12, the left-hander. Is Ty Scott going to do it? He's making the move. Gloddy's leaving the door wide open. Scott under braking sends it sideways. Can he hold on to it? No. Side by side they go. The right-hander, Gloddy, onto the front straightaway. Is he going to be able to do it? He's going to get under the bubble. Ty Scott. It's going to be Ben Gloddy with the win. Takes the checkered flag by 0.2 of a second. And for third place, welcome back, Max Toth. He gets it done over Cody Wyman, Gus Rodeo, David Kolstad, and Owen Williams. And last lap drama for Jake Vandal, the 23.
Trying to see where that's at, too.
In 16th place, he is down.
What a race for third between Toth, Wyman, Rodeo, Kolstad, the rookie Owen Williams. Jack Roach ends up 8th, Max Van 9th. Kayla Yako, great job from her today getting it into that top 10. As you look at the winners and leaders' paces, 42.7 for Ben Gloddy on lap 3. And on the last lap runs 43.3, takes the lead going into turn 6 as the door was opened up from him from Ty Scott. This is a big win for Ben here.
And it looks like Ben Gloddy going to be a taxi service. We'll step away. When we come back, can't wait to hear from Ben Gloddy on how he won that one.
Robbie Floyd and Roger Hayden here with you. And I don't care who you're rooting for in that one. That was a heck of a race, Roger. I mean, it came down to the end, and I'm glad both guys neither one of them back down.
Yeah, it was a good race. Ben Gloddy played his cards perfectly that last lap, and Tyler Scott tried to make that pass into turn 12, but just couldn't hold the line.
I saw a couple of times there. There were certain areas where I knew that Ty Scott was not going to let off. I mean, he was going to go for that angle, and he was telling Ben Gloddy, you're the one that's going to have to shut it down. Well, that happened in reverse, coming here right in front of us and before they head to the tunnel. Tyler Scott went underneath, but that next opportunity, that over and under, Ben Gloddy was not backing down.
No, he wasn't going to give that position, and it's been impressive to see Ben Gloddy, even though when he hasn't been there in practice and qualifying, when the race comes, he can, same thing at Laguna, can step up and give Tyler Scott a run for his money. And, that last lap just played it perfectly. And Tyler Scott tried to make a pass, but just couldn't make it stick.
We saw that race for third. Max Toth was going to finish in third ahead of Cody Wyman, Gus Rodeo, David Kolstad. We saw Kolstad run wide there. That's what it looked like a replay of Road America. You saw that pack of guys. That kind of let those front two kind of pull away a little bit.
Yeah, they were dicing up, and, at the end of the race, they were kind of all back in a bunch again. And also Owen Williams, what a good run by him.
Yeah.
7th place, but right there in that battle for the podium spot. So that's the best ride we've seen out of him all season, and really cool to see him up there.
Yeah, it is maybe a lucky number 13 because he finished in lucky number 7 today, and again, not too far behind those guys in that pack. Let's take a look back something that happened. Evidently, there was a crash that we didn't see earlier on MotoAmerica Live Plus. Let's take a look back and let's see what goes down. Who 'tis?
It's the guy on the outside, number 23.
Yeah, Vandal. That. Ooh, man. Roger, close your eyes.
That wasn't too bad.
You could say that. Oh, it wasn't bad. When he started coming around, tell me you didn't think it was going to be a lot worse than that.
No, I thought it was going to be a lot worse, but ended up not being that bad. He was just out on the dirty part of the track, being wide there, and when you're that far out, you can't have that kind of lean angle.
If he could have pulled out that save, it would have been our Geico save of the day. Definitely, we saw that.
Save of the weekend.
Yes, save of the year. That would have been even better than the one we saw at Atlanta this year. Well, the Landers crew are happy with Ben Gloddy and getting hugs all around. There's Teague Hobbs, and he did it. He deserved it, and he was able to take that victory, closes up those 5 points. And he couldn't put anybody in between him, but that's not on him. That's on everybody else to catch up to Ty Scott.
No, not at all, but to take 5 points away, he's got to give him a nice little boost. He's been kind of coming up on the short end of that stick, that battle with Tyler Scott the last couple races, so it's going to feel good for him to come in here and finish the job.
That 12-point differential will now be a 7-point advantage for Ty Scott. Cody Wyman, who's third in the championship, going to finish 4th today, just behind Max Toth. Good run for Ben Gloddy, and we're seeing what he's capable of, and he's going to go to a track that we know he's been to before. If I don't remember right, I think he was pretty darn fast at Pittsburgh for the next stop, but we still have tomorrow. I mean, if he could close up 5 more points, turn that 7 into a 2 or even less, that's what he's going to look for, the confidence.
Yeah, and I mean, that's exactly what he needs to do, just keep winning, keep trying to take those points. It seems like these two guys are starting to kind of set themselves apart from the rest of the field. kind of breaking away from the guys pretty early, and looks like it's going to be between these two guys for the wins for the rest of the season.
You were seeing the different types of bike and the Kawasaki and the KTM and the way that they were having to run it. Ben Gloddy was having to carry a lot more speed. It looked a little more European at times, keeping those wide lines and just not letting off the throttle. The KTM handled it, was a little quicker off exit like that. He was taking those lower lines.
It just seems like the Kawasaki and the KTM each have their strong suits, but over the lap it looks really even to me, and it's really cool to see the KTM out there this year, another bike in the mix and on the podium.
Absolutely. If I were to look, say, two riders in the past, I would say Ty Scott maybe more that Tony Elias run and gun kind of mode, wouldn't you? I mean, he likes to go to those inside, and he usually has that grunt to drive out.
Well, I think he's just really confident, really aggressive to make those passes and really put his nose in there and really comfortable to make those passes and not afraid to stick his nose in there.
I know the KTM Scott Power Sports entry finished his second today, and he just come off that national championship hunt in the dirt track. Do you think racing out there, it's a little different racing, and you're having to run nose to tail and working ins and outs? I mean, that can actually help him in races like this, doesn't it?
Especially for a young kid like him, even though it is flat track, it has to help him. Just being on the bike, learning different skills, sliding the bike around. That's why you see him when he slides a little bit. He doesn't really let off the throttle. He's kind of used to the bike sliding, and he's definitely a really talented young rider, national champion flat track rider, and also winning MotoAmerica Junior Cup races.
Well, great job by Ben Gloddy closing up that gap on the championship hunt. Ty Scott finishes second, and Max Toth on the podium. We'll send it back to the guys next door. They take it away here at the MotoAmerica Superbikes at Minnesota.
Today's Junior Cup race coverage has been sponsored by Geico Motorcycle. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on your car or motorcycle insurance. And by Dunlop, the official tire of the MotoAmerica Championship Series.
We're back at Brainerd International Raceway. Here's the final results. 0.2 of a second, the margin of victory. Ben Gloddy over Tyler Scott. Max Toth was able to hold on to third place ahead of Wyman, Rodeo, Kolstad. Great results. First time that we've seen Kolstad off the box in a while. Let's get right down with our winner. Got to be smiling. Ben Gloddy with Hannah.
Greg, you're right. It's been a while since we've seen a smile this big on Benjamin Gloddy's face. Your first victory since VIR, your third victory this season, and a hard-fought battle at that. Take us through that last lap. You were trading passes with Tyler Scott for that entire last lap. How'd you pull it off?
Yeah, I mean, I wanted the lead going into turn 12, and I thought I went in pretty deep, but he went in even deeper, and I was just able to square him up to lead onto the front straightaway to be able to get the win. But, I mean, it was an awesome race. He rode awesome. It was definitely hard to keep up with him, and it feels good to be back on top again, and hopefully we can keep this momentum rolling. But I wouldn't have been able to do it without my whole Landers Racing team, Tarl, Jamie, Stoney, everybody over there, Rocco, Arai Helmets, Supreme Lending, Penguin Racing School, American Super Camp, everybody else that helps me out. Thank you.
Congratulations, today's race winner, Benjamin Gloddy.
And for Ben Gloddy, it had been since the first race at VIR all the way back May 20th. He got a victory, and so now he shakes that off, and he is winner of SportbikeTrackGear.com's race number 1. Let's get down to Hannah with our second place finisher.
Second place today goes to Tyler Scott. Tyler, we saw you lift your visor and put your hand inside your helmet at the beginning part of this race. What was going on out there?
Yeah, I took a shower right before the race, and my hair was falling down in my eyes. But it was a great race. Big thanks to KTM, Arai Helmets, Bob Robbins. It was a really good battle with him, and hopefully tomorrow we can do a little bit better.
Congrats, Tyler. Thank you.
All right, well, it sounds like buzz cut.
The old hair in the eyes, yes, it does happen. So, he was able to put that aside and tuck his hair back up and be okay. So he'll live to get back tomorrow and probably make some improvements, try to get Ben another run for his money.
And Hannah is with our third place finisher, Maxwell Toth.
Well, after missing out on the last round, Max Toth returns to the track and returns to the podium. Tell me a little bit how you're feeling physically right now. How's that hand?
Yeah, I mean, physically I'm feeling pretty good. I was 100% from the day that we arrived here, so not really happy about the result. I mean, I know a third place might look good on paper, but in my opinion, this is a big step backwards from our win at the Ridge. I would have liked to have been up in that front group, but unfortunately, it had to be a fight from fight for third from the 4th lap. So next race tomorrow, it'll be good. I'll try and get up there with Ben and Tyler, and we'll see if we can make it a better result.
Congrats, Max. Guys.
All right, congratulations to Max Toth. And Jason, for coming back and getting a 3rd place finish, you can tell he's got a lot of desire to be up there right at the top.
Yeah, well, he feels like he's healthy enough right now to do the job, to get back up to those front guys. And, hopefully tomorrow, like you said, he wants to maybe get a better start, get up there with them early and try to chase them.
Our championship standings, we're back down to 7 points, the difference between Tyler Scott and Ben Gloddy. This championship could come all the way down to the last lap of the last race of the season. Cody Wyman in 3rd, got a few over Gus Rodeo. That was an entertaining race, and we get to do it again. So for Hannah Lope and Jason Pridmore, I'm Greg White. Thanks so much for joining us. See you, bye.